Kenny me an char, an floor, an fablach, chuck our law, chuck our money, chuck out the window if you're proud. Well, for all those orange fuckers out there don't understand what that was, whenever you do find out, will you let me know? I want to say, we were going to get Michael Aspel to get me to appear on This Is Your Life, but I suppose that's appropriate now because I know a lot of people who have been given life. But anyway, it would have been alright if that great Irishman named Andrews had been still alive, but I'm certainly not going to let that English bastard Michael Aspel churn out a lot of Brit propaganda and lies about me, so I thought I would do the job myself, or May Finn, myself alone. I do have before me here a green book and not a red one. The only thing red about Sinn Féin's members is our fucking necks. Anyway, this isn't moving the process forward, so I'll begin. My dad, Gerry Sr., received the traditional form of Republican higher education. He saw the inside of more fucking prisons than Lord Longford. In 1942 he shot a pillar in Osmond Street. My ma thought he was going to be hung, but on her wedding night she found out he wasn't. Anyway, the pillar survived. It turns out the bullets were damper than the seats of a Boys' Own concert. My dad got 8 years in a crumb, and after getting out he married my ma and got a house in the Lower Falls. 1948 turned out to be a great year for republicanism. For in October I was born, followed a month later by Prince Charles. As a kid I was immersed in the struggle. My dad used to hide his revolver in my wardrobe, wrapped up in a pair of my Wranglers. So you could say republicanism was in my genes. I went to a Christian Brothers primary school, St. Finnan's. No, not St. Finian's. St. Finnan's. We didn't have much money, so whenever I had sweets, I never shared them. That got me a reputation as a tight arse. So as you can imagine, that made me very popular with the Christian Brothers. Talk about corporal punishment. At least the provosts, they never go above the kneecaps. However, in spite of all my hard work, I didn't get the 11 plus. So I passed the written test. But even with the help of a friendly Christian brother, I managed to fail the oral. In 1964, I joined Sinn Féin after Ian Paisley led a campaign to have a tricolour removed from the Sinn Féin's election office. And by the way, I'd like to thank Dr. Paisley and pay a tribute to him for getting me started in Republican politics. I then got a job in a bar, and I ended up working in the Duke of York. So you could say I spent more time in the Duke of York than Fergie ever did. When the Republican movement split, I of course went with the provisionals. The officials' policy was to recognise Stormont and the Dáil, take seats in these partitionist parliaments and wind down the armed struggle. I ask you, what sort of Republican would do that, without first being told to do it by the American government, that is? So I did my bit to defend the people of West Belfast. Of course I was only involved in the political struggle, stripping down typewriters, launching verbal attacks on the Brits, and planting stories in the press. In 1970 I grew a beard. The main reason was to disguise myself from the Brits. But it was also because every time I wore my beret, some smart arse would adopt, "Oops, Betty, that Brit's just done a whoopsie on my arms dump." Stupid bastards. I then fell in love with my future wife Colette. I wouldn't say she was a sex bomb, more of a suspect device. I got married on the run because Colette's dad thought I got her pregnant, and he was going to kill me. But of course she wasn't pregnant, as you know. I have always been in favour of the withdrawal, and not only by the Brits. Anyway, in 1972, just like President Clinton, I was interned. I organised my fellow internees in singing Republican ballads, so you could say I was the man behind the choir. Unlike all those cow-fucking culties that come from Tyrone, we call them the men behind the bar. We decided to burn down Long Cash. Unfortunately, I got petrol on my sleeve and caught fire. I can honestly tell you now that was the only time in my life when I had an Armalite. I was released in 1974 to take part in talks with Wee Willie Whitelaw in a big house in Chelsea. The talks ended in acrimony when I passed the Port of Martin McGuinness to the left. I was caught again shortly afterwards when I tried to escape. Many a time I tried to escape. Several times I tried to. I was planning to ride a motorbike over the fence like Steve McQueen did in The Great Escape. We nearly had a whole bike assembled, but we couldn't get anyone with an arse big enough to smuggle in the carburettor. In 1981, Sinn Féin took off politically as a direct result of the hunger strikes. And I would like to pay tribute to all those men who will live on in history. We will never forget you. Jimmy Sands, Sean Hughes, Maureen O'Hara, Dave D, Dozy, Bakey, Mick and Titch. In 1983, I took Gerry Fitt's seat, just after the lads had burnt his sofa. Gerry Fitt criticised me, saying that I would be an abstentionist MP. But that's not true. Sometimes I do have the odd pint of Bass, but I never mix my drinks. Look what happened to Michelle Smith. She got in trouble for having a powers in her bush. Shortly after that, I began talking to John Hume about peace. And look what happens. He gets the Nobel Peace Prize, and I get fuck all. In my new role as an international statesman, however, I met many a world leader. As I told President Clinton, just like New York, New York, the ceasefire was so good, we had one twice. My one regret, though, is that I never met Mother Teresa before she died. Unfortunately, I was otherwise engaged when she was working up in Ballymurphy in the early 70s. I hear she couldn't put up with all the filth and squalor, so she fucked off back to Calcutta. Anyway, moving the process forward, the main and the big sticking point now is decommissioning. David Trimble keeps asking me what am I going to do about the Arsenal. But as I keep telling him, I think they should strengthen their back four and get a decent fucking striker. And now Sinn Féin is on the up and the up. Our vote is expanding faster than John Hume's waistline. And I would like to thank all those middle-class Catholics who are now starting to vote for us. As I said in our recent Memorial Wine and Cheese fundraising party up on Malone Road, don't worry, Chardonnay will come. Cara Maoga.